Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about Geography second lesson, Lithosphere part 2. Introduction. Today we will learn the erosional and depositional features. Erosional landforms of river, gorges and canyons, waterfall, V-shaped valley, pothole, meander, oxbow lake. First, gorges and canyons. When the river flows through a mountainous region made up of hard rocks, it forms a valley with almost vertical sides called gorge. In India, deep gorges have been formed by Brahmaputra and Indus in the Himalayas. A deep gorge with steep sides that runs for hundreds of kilometers is referred to as canyon. Example, Grand Canyon of the River Colorado in the USA. Next, waterfall. When a river flows in a region where hard rocks lie over soft rocks horizontally, the soft rocks get eroded quickly and the hard rocks projects outwards. Thus, the river falls vertically from a steep slope to form a waterfall. Next, V-shaped valley. A V-shaped valley is formed by the vertical erosion of the river where the valley is deepened and widened. Next, pothole. Due to the river action, cylindrical holes are drilled vertically in the riverbed with varying depth and diameter. These are called potholes. Next, meander. As the river loaded with debris flows slowly, it forms sweeping loops and bends. It is referred to as meanders. Next, oxbow lake. Meanders in due course of time become almost a complete circle with narrow necks. This in turn gets abandoned and forms a lake. This is called an oxbow lake. Next, depositional landforms of river, alluvial fan, floodplain, delta, karst topography. Alluvial fan. A fan-shaped deposition made by the river at the foothills is called an alluvial plain. Floodplain. Fine sediments are deposited on river banks when a river floods. These sediments make the region rich and fertile. This is called a floodplain. Next, delta. A triangular-shaped low-lying area formed by the river at its mouth is called delta. Example, Kaveri Delta in Tamil Nadu. Next, karst topography. As an agent of gradation, underground water creates distinct landforms in limestone regions called karst topography. Next, erosional landforms of underground water. When rainwater mixes with carbon dioxide and enters into a limestone region, it dissolves and destroys much of the limestone. As a result, landforms such as TERRA ROSSA, lapis, sinkhole, caves and caverns. First, TERRA ROSSA, Italian term for red soil. Deposition of red clay soil on the surface of the earth is due to the dissolution of limestone content in rocks. The redness of the soil is due to the presence of iron oxide is called TERRA ROSSA. Next, lapis. When the joints of limestone rocks are corrugated by groundwater, long furrows are formed there. These are called lapis. Next, sinkhole. A funnel-shaped depressions formed due to dissolution of limestone rock is called sinkholes. Their average depth ranges between 3 and 9 meters. Next, caves and caverns. Caves and caverns are subterranean features of karst topography. Caves are hollows that are formed by the dissolution of limestone rocks when carbon dioxide in air turns into carbonic acid after its reaction with water. They vary in size and shape. Caverns are the caves with irregular flows. Example, Guttadam caves in West Bihar. Next, depositional landforms of underground water. Stalactite, stalagmite and column, and glaciers. When the water containing dissolves, calcite gradually drips from the ceiling of the caves, water evaporates and the remaining calcite hangs from the ceiling. Thus, stalactites are formed. When the calcite deposits rises upward like a pillar, stalagmites are formed. Sometimes stalactites and stalagmites meet together to form columns or pillars. Next, glaciers. A glacier is a large mass of ice that moves slowly over the land from its place of accumulation. It is also known as river of ice. Next, erosional landforms of glaciers. CIRQUE, ARETE, pyramidal peak, U-shaped valley, hanging valley, and gorge. CIRQUE. The glacier erodes the steep side walls of the mountain and forms a bowl-shaped armchair-like depression. It is termed as CIRQUE. ARETE. Artes are narrow ridges formed when two CIRQUE walls join together back to back and forms narrow knife-like ridges. Next, pyramidal peak. The pyramidal peaks formed when three or more CIRQUEs meet together. Example, Matterhorns. Next, U-shaped valley. When the glacier moves down along a river valley, the valley further gets eroded deep and wide to form a U-shaped valley. Next, hanging valley. These are valleys eroded by tributary glacier and that hangs over the main valley. Next, gorge. Gorges are glacial valleys that are partly submerged in the sea. Next, depositional landforms of glacier. Moraine, drumlin, esker, outwash plain. Moraine. Landforms formed by the glacial deposits of valley or continental glaciers are termed as moraines. They are of various shapes and size like ground, terminal and later moraines, etc. Drumlin. Drumlins are deposits of glacial moraines that resemble giant inverted teaspoons or half-cut eggs. Next, esker. Long narrow ridges composed of boulders, gravel and sand deposited by streams of melting water which run parallel to a glacier are called eskers. Next, outwash plain. An outwash plain consists of glacial sediments deposited by melting ice at the terminus of a glacier. It appears as an extensive accumulation of sand, gravel and silt. Next, erosional landforms of wind. Some of the erosional landforms of wind are mushroom rocks, INSELBERGs and YARDANGs. Mushroom rock. Rocks are made up of hard and soft layers. When a rock's bottom is soft, the sand-laden winds blow against it and wear it down. This is called a mushroom or pedestal rock. Such rocks are found near Jodhpur in Rajasthan. Next, INSELBERG. INSELBERG is a German term which means an island mountain. Next, YARDANG. In arid regions, certain rocks have hard and soft layers arranged vertically. When wind blows over these rocks, the soft layer gets eroded, leaving irregular crusts. These are called yardangs. Next, depositional landforms of wind. Some of the depositional landforms are sand dunes, WATERFALLs, and LOESS. Sand dune. In deserts during sandstorms, wind carries loads of sand. When the speed of wind decreases, huge amount of sand get deposited. These mounds or hills of sands are called sand dunes. Next, BARCHAN. Barch are isolated crescent-shaped sand dunes. They have gentle slopes on the windward side and steep slopes on the leeward side. Next, transverse dunes. Transverse dunes are symmetrical in shape. They are formed by alternate slow and fast winds that blow from the same direction. Next, longitudinal dunes. Longitudinal dunes are long, narrow ridges of sand which extended in a direction parallel to a prevailing winds. These dunes are called safes in Sahara. Next, loess. The term loess refers to the deposits of fine silt and porous sand over a vast region. Extensive loess deposits are found in northern and western China. Next, erosional landforms of waves. Some of the erosional landforms of sea waves are sea cliffs, sea cave, sea arc, sea stack, wave cut platforms. Sea cliffs. Sea cliffs are steep rock faces formed when sea waves dash against them. The rocks get eroded to form steep vertical walls. Next, sea cave. Prolonged wave attack on the base of a cliff erodes rock materials which result in the formation of caves. Next, sea arc. When two caves approach one another from either side of a headland and unite, they form an arc. Next, sea stack. Further erosion by waves ultimately leads to the total collapse of the arc. The seaward portion of the headland will remain as a pillar of rock known as stack. Next, wave cut platforms. Flat surface found at the foot of a sea cliffs are called as wave cut platforms. Wave cut platform is also referred as wave cut benches terrace. Next, depositional landforms of waves. Beach. Sand and gravel are moved and deposited by waves along the shore to form beaches. This is the most dominant and constructive work of the sea. Example, Marina Beach in Chennai. Next, bar. A bar is an elongated deposit of sand, shingle or mud found in the sea, almost parallel to the shoreline. Next, spit. A spit is a ridge or embankment of sediment attached to the land on one end and terminating in open water on the other end. Spits are common at the mouth of estuaries. Example, Kakinada Spit. Thank you, students.